go in here. Music and videos. Where's my YouTube? There it is. My YouTube. And we're going to current live stream. And hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button. And I'll wait till more people get on to. Okay, let's see. We're going to have to do quite a bit of. Man, this thing is slow. I'm just typing in. Bear with me. I'm typing in the podcast promotion. I just did the podcast and Amgen. Let's type in. VRDN. I'll look at WMK. Yeah. Dude, why do you think I bought Apple? Morning, Jesse. Why do you think I bought Apple in like 2004? James, you're a legend. Thank you. Honestly, I mean, I know it's just a couple of people here, but I couldn't believe yesterday that I was ranked in the top 5% of most shared podcasts. That's crazy. By the way, I didn't post this, but I'll tell you guys. The number one episode was, I think it was titled Oversold Stocks to Buy Now. So, Jesse, here's what it is. I have my 2015 MacBook Pro, which is so slow I can't even run Active Trader Pro with OBS. I'm running TrendSpider on it, but I can't run OBS with, in fact, I need to alter the, bring this in a little bit so that you guys can see that. Yeah, that's probably the best view, but I can't run Active Trader Pro. So it's wacky as fuck that, it's just slow. That's why I ordered that MacBook Pro. In fact, I'm going to look right now because I ordered it from Amazon. And they say it will be delivered tomorrow. But this is the crazy thing. Let me make sure my address isn't on here. No, my address isn't on here, but I don't need to show you. It says, not yet shipped. Delivery estimate Friday, December 2nd by 10 p.m. So, yeah, I'm in Jersey until January, probably. Next week, by the way, I haven't announced this, but Monday I won't be doing a podcast. I don't think I'll be doing a podcast. I'll be in a hotel in Cape May. And then the following week I'm doing Miss America. So let me just type this out. SOSA. SQQQ. We're going to put in TQQQ. We're going to put in, and I didn't go over, you know what? I'm going to put in Boyle and KOLD because I think Boyle is flying again. SBF. Let's put in FBF. And we'll put in so slow. FTX. I'm going to probably have to be right back. That was my note about... You'll have to listen to the podcast to me talk about Beaverface. I do. There is a woman I call Beaverface. And I think she deserves it, to be honest. But isn't it exciting watching me? Dr. Tom had a couple of recommendations that might be a little bit risky for this crew. Well, for me, I should say. Apple, another Apple downgrade. COD and Ally. And spoiler alert. Wait, a lot of cross-ups. That's all the cross-ups that I had. So I'm going to probably split this up into quite a few. And then we're going to cut this. X. And we'll tweet that. Once that's tweeted. Pelosi. Hey, Pelosi retired, man. As much as I hate that woman and her stock picking, insider trading, I do give her respect. And any Republican that doesn't stand and applaud her just doesn't understand the contribution she made and the hate that she took. Okay, let's plug in all of these names. I got to go over all these charts. Come on. And see, this is when it's running. Is it down 3%? Their earnings are coming up. But how much was it up yesterday? I know I saw United Healthcare up. I should do this in my notes. But usually when I'm doing the podcast, I copy and paste, and the dollar sign is going to get in my way. I'm going to do another share. Do. Oh. Guys, I have to go let the dogs out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. My dog is going a little nuts, if you can hear. I'm going to type in some popular names here. Spy. Oh, come on, work already. AMD is one. SPXU is one. UCO, SCO is another. It's just DIA, GDX, FREY, PLTR, PBR, SOXL. I did 20-year TLT. I'm typing in everything over the scroll on CNBC just because that's, it is what it is. Nutanix, NTNX. Boy, TLT is coming up a hell of a lot. TLT looks like it's TTD, BIDU, Upstart, Coin, BTAI. That's good. Okay, let's start going over charts. Morning, Zephin. Morning, Justin. TSM, man. Let me look real quick. Did Tom write me or somebody else wrote me? GLD. Tom types in a lot. We'll close that. We'll close that. We'll get back to some. Okay. So I went over SOXS. And you guys are going to have to remind me to go back if you put something in the stream. But SOXS was one I went over, and I want to see if you can see the chart on there. So there's a little delay here. Yeah, you can see the chart. Because I can see FedEx. So I'll pull this back. There we go. See that gap? I got mesmerized from that gap. Hey, Mike. Only if it were that easy, Mike. Yesterday it was that easy. By the way, I wish I could display, if you do a live chart of any stock yesterday, look at what you could have bought at 2 o'clock, because that was clear the second he started talking. You bought AR? I have to look at AR. I don't even know what AR is. But look, so this is why I'm still big on SOXS, because I don't think that the market has said we're in for, the bull market of this year. I don't think we have. So SOXS, you're seeing the semiconductors have run. This is the inverse, so it's a bear fund. You got this gap up here between 48 and 54. You're trading at 29. I'm not saying today this is going to fill that gap. I'm not saying you even have any kind of confirmation today, because those Bollinger Bands are just way too wide right now. But if I had to guess, I'd kind of point to SOXS. If I got you in at 35, my apologies, but I did make mention you got to have tight stop losses on these, because these are triple levered ETFs. These things move. And one thing that I brought up on the podcast yesterday, by the way, check your portfolios. If you were not up anywhere between 2 and 4%, I would say your portfolio is probably not as a whole. And I'm not talking about small, trading accounts. I'm talking about your entire portfolio. I'm talking about 401k. I'm talking about investments. I'm talking about anything that you have in the market as a whole. You should be looking at that against the indices. If you weren't up 2 to 4%, you're not allocated correctly. My suggestion would be to go and watch that video from yesterday, and I've got it in my podcast description from yesterday, about Warren Buffett's two fund portfolio, basically a bond fund and a stock fund. And I would say you should push yourself into those types of things, because I think it's 95% of the actively managed ETFs, actively managed hedge funds, they don't beat the S&P for 20 years. And if you're looking at the S&P yesterday, I think it was up 3%. If you're not beating that, you have no business in trading your entire portfolio, and you shouldn't trade your entire portfolio. I trade about 20% of my portfolio, and I've gone over that 40-40-20. That 20%, I'm in and out sometimes. It's not all invested. Probably about half of the 20% is invested. The other half is kind of in cash, and I'll get in and I'll get out. And sometimes I hold for 2 months. Sometimes I hold for 2 weeks. Sometimes I hold for a day. It just depends. Before I buy a position, I make a plan for that position. Let me get the dogs in here. Hold on 1 second. Come on. You can come in. Okay, there you go. Go in there. You're good girls. There you go. I'll pick it up. There you go, Penny. Go on. Come on. There you go. Come on. Okay. Good girl. Bury yourself, Daisy. Come on. Daisy, let's go. When you go in, Penny will go in. We know who the leader and the follower is. But yeah, so back on that route, you should absolutely be watching your portfolio as a whole, specifically on days like yesterday. Even on the down days, if you're not down as much as the market, but you're down, you're doing well. But that's why in that core, if you're in TrendSpider, in that it's called Daily Stock Picks. Oh, God. Daily Stock Picks Core Investment. Man, this computer is horrible. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to restart Safari. You're going to go to a black screen. My apologies. But I have to relog into TrendSpider. I'll check that OBS is correct. I don't think you were oblivious, Jesse. My guess is that you were just, they talk about it all the time, that if you're out of the market for any kind of time frame, you're missing out. Let me make sure I'm getting into the right thing. And you guys can see the right thing. And by the way, Jesse, we all make mistakes. Nothing to feel bad about. I'm still in Shopify. I'm still in Baba. I'm still in Palantir. I'm still in a lot of names that I shouldn't be in. So we all make mistakes. Okay. I am going to look at this. And then I'm going to have to, I think, redo Safari. And then Safari, there we go. Okay. Run. And I'm going to have to reset this. Bum, 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 bum. To that. It's just slow. My apologies. I'm going to have to resize this. Hopefully this doesn't change OBS. And I got a lot of stocks to go through. I do have an 11 o'clock appointment. So I'm probably going to have to leave here early before I'm done with everything. Okay. So SOXS, there's that. For those of you that have TrendSpider, the list of scans that I did, I'll pop this list into the chat window. These are all of the stocks. God, I hope this fits. These are the stocks that had a MACD cross up. Oh, it didn't do that. Oh, my apologies. That's impossible. Can I block myself for doing that mess? All of the stocks that scanned up, they're in the podcast description. And if you have TrendSpider, plug that list in so you can see. So you can see the charts. The one that I really wanted to go over here are the spider sectors. God, and it's doing it again. It's this MacBook. And Apple is moving in and out of the positive territory. Why is it doing this? I'm having technical issues. My apologies. Yeah. Oh, man, that sucks. 95. A flat on 95 is the worst. Okay, spider sectors there. Now it's working. So I set up this watch list of the spider sectors. I just went to the website. I just Googled spider sectors and I looked. And here's what I saw. And I'm going to have to shrink this down. I see it's now way too big in OBS. I really should be more organized than this, but I'm not. It's part of my charm. So, okay. We're going to go down here and then up there. Move this to, I can do that. Okay, that works. So here's the community. Basically, you just look up SPDR sectors, and you'll find on the internet a list of the 7, 8, 9 sectors that the spider watches. This is the communications. You can look at Spider to see what stocks make this up. But look, communication service pushing right up against the 200-day. Right there. You got a gap, but it's above the 200-day. So it's less likely to get filled, but you're pushing right up there. You got a gap down here between 46 and 47. That gap probably is, it's got so much confirmation above the Bollinger Bands and stuff. XLC, anything in XLC, if you're looking at a stock, I would say go and find out which spider sector it's in and go and check out that sector spider to make sure that you're still in bullish territory. So the next one outside of XLC is XLP. XLP is consumer staples. And look at how far above the 200-day that one is. And look at where the current candle is. It's well above the Bollinger Bands. You have confirmation. This was entry in at Oh, come on. Do, 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 do. 67. But see, look at, so this purple line, that's where, oh, I got to block this one. Hide user on this channel. There we go. Yeah, we got 15, and one was definitely a bot, an adult bot. But 67.70 in this consumer staples. Look at that run. You're up at 76. Again, this is sector. XLP, consumer staples. XLE. I believe I recommended this one at 71 not too long ago. But this is the energy sector, XLE. XLE, you've got this gap down here. You have an ascending triangle. Remember, TrendSpider puts these in automatically. You got out here. We're going to have to shrink this down just to see how much you made. But 71, 72 was here on September 30th. Was it 20%? 27% right there. And you're still within this ascending triangle on the bottom portion of that ascending triangle. I don't think it's too late for energy. I continue to say energy until Monday. You're in there. XLF. This is one that's even today, it looks like. This is the financial sector. This is if you didn't want to buy Bank of America, if you didn't want to buy Wells Fargo, if you didn't want to buy Morgan Stanley, if you didn't want to buy Goldman Sachs, you just buy the XLF. This one, 31.45 on October 13th. Boom. Look at that run. You're above that 200-day. You got a gap here above the 200-day between 33 and 34. You're trading at 36. So you got a gap down on that one. But this is a great tool to look at, and I can share this list with anybody that wants it. If you want it, hit me up in the socials. I'll share the list with you. I'll share the link with you. But I've just put this list together. It is great. It is a great tool to look at. It goes along with FinViz. In fact, let's open up FinViz. Because if you guys go on FinViz and just look at the front page of FinViz, it's what's called a heat sector. And probably at some point in time, I'm going to do a look at FinViz. Just how to use FinViz. What's the benefit of it? But right here, you'll see throughout the day, this turns red and green and things of that sort. This is the heat map of the S&P 500. See where it says technology and the weighting of it, the size of it is the weighting of it, communications, consumer cyclicals, consumer discretionary, financial, healthcare, industrials. Those are all sectors. And so what I did, I took the spider sectors, SPDR sectors, and I put them into this watch list. And so when I look at XLV, I say, I'm not really sure I want to buy healthcare because look at how much it's run. You're still in this run at 125. So the entire sector is overbought. It's at 72 on the RSI. It's a good way to look at things. Let's look at the next one, industrials, XLI. This one is down in pre-market by about 0.2%. Take a look at this one. I mean, the industrials have run tremendously. And you're just looking at this run continuing. Here was the entry long, and we've even got to shrink this down because it's too big. 85.57. You're at 101. What's that, 17%? 20%, somewhere in that neighborhood? And you still got it above the 9-day. You do have gaps here, and the 200-day is going to provide you support at about 92. I wouldn't buy it, though. Look at XLB. XLB is bueno. Materials. XLB is materials. You're above the 200-day, and you're still running. You're in at 70. You're at 82 right now. That's materials. XLRE. I think this is real estate. Yeah, real estate. We have 50-day. Your 50-day. You're below the 200-day on this one. The 50-day is starting to rise. You have a gap up here in the 50, above the 200-day, which is 42 to 43, but you're trading at 39. See how, look at that red candle, that afternoon candle yesterday. Or I'm sorry, that's today's candle. Because this is 9:30. Yeah, it's 9:41. That's today's candle, right on the 200-day. It's got to break through that 200-day to actually confirm a bull run. XLK, which is, I think, technology. We'll pull it up. Yeah, technology. This is your Apples. This is your Microsoft. This is all of the technology. See how it's just using that 200-day as a resistance level? Well, it broke through that. And so now we're at 136. You got some gaps up here to fill. You got a gap up here at 138. You got gaps back here from August between 144 and 145. I think those are in play, but it's overbought. This is why you buy on down days. You don't buy on up days, and you have to have patience. XLU, which is utilities. This is the stuff that I want to go over. Ford. Probably because Jim Cramer got a text from Jim Farley. So yeah, $70, 72. Let's look at Ford. I'll come back to these. XLU, you see, in the utilities, you're bumping against that. There's 200-day, but you broke it. So I would argue that we're probably in a bullish cycle in certain sectors that are above that 200-day. There are certain sectors that are hitting that 200-day, and they're basically they're using that 200-day as a resistance level. If you break through that 200-day, then my guess is that you're in a bullish cycle, and you can probably look to get into some positions there. Again, this is outside of day trading. This is for long-term investing. This is for something, 5, 6, 10 months. If you want to look at that, you might be down from here. But yeah, look at Ford. You're out with a 15% gain. That was at 11. It's using the 200-day right now as its support, but it's up above the 200. It's probably going to get another MACD cross up. Let's take a look. Come on, man. Yeah, it's going to get that MACD cross up. But I don't know if I trust, you don't have a lot of catalyst here. The catalyst is out until February 2nd. And let's move this volume shelf back a little bit. Oh, come on. Let's move it back here. We're going to move it back to August 17th. For volume shelf movements, if you're into TrendSpider, if you're in TrendSpider, volume shelf stuff, you want to move it back to a recent high because that'll get you volume shelves. Look at Ford. It's probably going to 15. 1503 is a pretty good volume shelf. You're in the middle of this kind of no man's land. It's either going to go to down here to about $14, or it's going to go up to about $15.20. But there's a lot of people holding at $15.20. The biggest shelf, though, the danger that you have is right down here at 12. I would say right at 12.19. So I will tell you, Zephin, let me tell you which ones I've got. Some have worked, some have not. We're updating our security protocols for third-party websites and apps. Wow. Let's see. All investments. I've got XLK and XLY. That's my current holdings. Great trade, Mike, on Ford. I think Ford's good. I think, again, I consider it a hype play. I wouldn't consider it a long-term investment. Car makers are just too capital intensive. But XLY and XLK are the ones that I currently hold. Stefan, I have held most of them. I don't think I've held XLU, which is utilities, which is the one that we were just looking at. Why did I put in sector spiders? I don't want UNH in sector spiders, but I want it in core holdings. Let's see. Core investments. We're going to take it out of sector spiders. But take a look at those sector spiders in TrendSpider. I'll share the list with you if you want. Actually, you know what? Here, as an exclusive. Share. So what you guys can do, who can access, what can they do? See the content. We're going to share this. Boom. I'll share it in the chat window. If you're on TrendSpider, come on and share. There it is. We're going to pin. I pinned it up top too. So if you're on TrendSpider, if you're not on TrendSpider, there's a link down below to sign up. But there you go. I shared it with you. And you can do your own due diligence on this. Just remember that 200-day is key. If you're above the 200-day and you have confirmation above the 9-day and the 21, you're probably pretty good. If you have my algorithm, you can look at that. I'll help you set up your setup if you want. But what else did I go over? Netflix. This is a good chart. And then I'm going to get going. I do have to look at, there's a couple up here that Justin, I think, wanted me to look at. Here's Netflix. We had a cross up on Netflix. And we're going to take a look back here. By the way, if you want me to show you what a douche Bill Ackman is, guy's a great investor, though. I give him credit, man. That guy makes some money. But here, you cross the 200-day. The 50-day crossed the 200-day right here. And the stock was trading at 224. Crazy good move. But I remember when we were talking, if you were listening to my podcast back in July, we were talking about how Netflix was going after password shares, how Netflix was going to start a gaming division, how Netflix was going to present an ad-based subscription service. Well, the ad-based subscription service has come to fruition. The gaming, they've purchased a couple of gaming companies, so gaming is coming. And the crackdown on passwords is still coming. Here's what you have to know. So you're today selling at 313. This gap where Bill Ackman, I think, bought right here in April. He may have bought in January, way back here at around 400. This gap is from earnings, and that gap is to 342. You're going to fill that gap. I kind of said down here, I said when that gap happened, I said probably should buy. I did not buy. full disclosure, I did not buy. I was not a fan of Netflix. I am a fan of Netflix right now. And the reason I'm a fan of Netflix is two things. Reid Hoffman yesterday said they should have started the ad division significantly sooner. He was against the ad division. When the CEO and founder of Netflix comes out and said, I was against the ad division, but now I'm completely for it, you have to listen because it's probably doing well. Second thing is the gaming position. It's going to be huge for them. It's going to be enormous. They're going to be doing well with games. So I think, again, you cover that gap. Are you going to 400? I don't know. And this was what I brought up on Netflix on the podcast. I'm looking to see where my dogs are because the garage door just opened. But Netflix is expensive. Remember how I talked about Apple wants to be at 17 on the PE and the market wants it at 17? Netflix is at 28. It's about what the Apple's at 24. Year to date, performance year to date, Netflix is down 49%. There's no dividend, so you're counting on capital improvement. You're counting on, hey, when I buy it, it's going to be, and I sell it, it's going to be higher than when I bought it. You can read all about the look at 370 price target. Today you're trading at 310. That's 20%. And that's the most recent Bank of America resumed coverage. So, Wall Street Journal article. Again, it's expensive. Look at the insider transactions. January 28th. Reed Hastings, buy at 375. Reed Hastings, buy at 390. You think this dude wants his stock at 313? Hell no. I don't think the S&P, hold on, let's Google this. S&P PE ratio. Let's look at it. 21.22. See, that's what's crazy. Because I'm seeing, see here. Look at SPY. Do we have a PE here on SPY? No, they don't release the PE. Today. Let's see what comes up. There's different ways of actually, See, there's different ways of actually calculating it. As a whole, they're overvalued. Well, I shouldn't say that. If you get a stock that's growing, and I'll give you the best for instance, Goldman Sachs that I have. Look at that PE, 10.29. But you go to a Bank of America and their PE is 11.97. Bank of America better. You go to Citi, which has some problems with debt. They're at 6.53. Go to Wells Fargo, which, by the way, had a cross-up today, and their PE is 12. And Wells Fargo has significantly more problems than most other banks. They still have problems. So that's within a sector. And you can see, okay, let's take a sector and look at that. The S&P PE, from what I understand, it's overvalued. Again, traditionally, it's between 17 and 19. So at 21, 26, it's got to come down. You also have some economists that have said that earnings just have to come down. That earnings ratios just aren't, we're going to start to see it. And we have started to see it. Look at Salesforce. Look at, Snowflake. Look at Apple. Look at Google. Look at all of those, Snapchat. Everything that's, even Ford, GM, Tesla, everything. The earnings just have to come down. So I would tend to agree with that. But that doesn't mean to say that the Fed won't engineer some type of soft landing. Because here's the thing. You can't tell a recession until 6 months afterwards. If we were in a recession and we've just come out of the recession, then that 21-26 will actually be dwarfed. So, yeah, and it's consumer spending stocks. I mean, again, I think I said it on the podcast this morning. Piper Sandler downgraded Apple based on iPhone sales, but there was also Capital One and Ally Financial downgraded by Morgan Stanley based on a weakening consumer. People are charging on their credit cards. You guys, I mean, I know I'm not working. You guys probably are. The dollar doesn't go as far. I don't spend money. I mean, honest to God, I go to Walmart and buy my groceries. I go hiking. Snowflake is up 5%. Snowflake. I said if you could get it at 128 today, you should buy it at 128. In pre-market, it was at 128. It's up 5% today. God. Should have bought it. Oh, well. Okay, I put that list in the podcast. Here are my notes, by the way. I can share my notes with you guys. Let me see. Notes. That's the list of all my stuff. All of the scans today. So, where's my Safari window? There we go. Anybody want me to look at anything? I'm looking. Let me look through the chat. Yeah. Justin, you want to look at Microsoft. Microsoft, you should have bought at 220s. Don't tell me I didn't tell you that one. You'll have a chance to get it back at probably 230s again, I think. But Microsoft, we'll look at Tesla. Yeah, I do the podcast with Rick. Rick is traveling in Oregon, so you know. To give you guys the full disclosure of, I will give you the exclusive. I got my absentee ballot last Friday. I mailed it out Monday. So I got a text from Cobb County, where I live in Atlanta, that my vote still hasn't been calculated. So I don't know when it'll arrive, but it has to arrive before December 9th. I have thoughts on the Republican legislature in Georgia moving runoff elections from January to December. Rick has some thoughts on how it shrunk that timeline. And make no mistake about it, there's two main difference between the two parties. Democrats want more people voting. Republicans want less people voting. Republicans will do everything in their power because they believe that there are Democrats cheat. Let's be honest. Both freaking parties cheat. It's not exclusive to any party. I'd like for you to find a cheating scandal on voting that has been proven, because conspiracy theories just aren't proven. And I won't go on, but yeah, Justin, you're busy, I know. Here, you're at 254. See the algorithm buy-in at 228? This is Microsoft. You got gaps all the way up. That's why I'm saying it just broke the 200 day on this one. You got a gap up here that it could fill at 265. I doubt it's getting to this 284, but if we are on a run, it could get to those 284, that 284. It's possible. Again, look at those sectors. Look at the XLK, I think is technology. Let's look at the XLK. I think it just broke through the 200, or it's just using the 200 as its resistance level. But now that we have the 930 candle, yeah, it's above there. If you close above there today, you didn't close above there yesterday. Yesterday's candles were on the 200 day. If you closed above there today, I think that could be... Yeah, I think, Mike, I'm probably a libertarian. I hate both parties. I did have a mixed ballot. I will tell you, specifically to me in the state runoff, and I'd say this on Rick's podcast a lot, I have total respect for Raffensperger, our Secretary of State in Georgia. He won overwhelmingly. And Brian Kemp won overwhelmingly because the two of them stood up to Trump and actually had morals and values. And they have my respect. Do they have my vote? No, just because, specifically with Raffensperger, Rick has had some interactions with him that were not good. And remember, Rick, if you guys don't know, I do a political podcast with Rick Barron. It's called, if just Google it, I'm looking it up on Spotify. It's called Election Insider with Richard Barron. So if you Google, just look up that one, you can hear me talk about more political stuff. I try and keep this more political to business ends. But my thoughts on Raffensperger was, A, thank God he's in office. B, thank God Brian Kemp was in office. If it were a Democrat, Trump wouldn't even have asked them for this stuff. But thank God those two actually stood up for what was right. So they do have my respect. Did they have my vote? No. I was a fan of B. Wynn for Secretary of State. And for governor, I won't tell you who I voted for, but I can tell you it wasn't one of the two major parties. But essentially, B. Wynn had my vote because Raffensperger lost my vote when they backed the changes in the Georgia elections. And one of the changes there were two changes that I had a problem with. The first was that drop boxes needed to be in an election office without office hours, meaning you couldn't drop your ballot into a ballot box outside of election office hours. So on the weekends, can't do it. After 5 o'clock, can't do it. Why can't you have a ballot box that's in the police station that's open 24 hours a day? Is that not secure? Can that be tampered with? By the police, that you're pro-police, but you think they're going to do that? I have a problem with that. Second thing I had a problem with is moving the runoff from January to December 9th. Rick has some really good insights with this in that he's a former elections director for the county of Fulton County in Georgia. And again, he was targeted by Trump. But the Republicans loved him. Democrats loved him. Again, there were no problems with that election. But moving that window from January to December means fewer people can actually vote. And I'll give you a for instance for me, and I'll give you a for instance because I do a lot of work with Meals on Wheels, is for me, I'm up here in New Jersey, so I had to request an absentee ballot. Well, the first time I went to request an absentee ballot, they couldn't process it because the election board wasn't allowed to process an request for absentee ballot because the election wasn't done yet. So that was the first thing. Then when I went the second time, they said, okay, you can apply for it, but we're not sure when it's going to get mailed out. So that was the second thing. You're right up against Thanksgiving. I was going up here to New Jersey during the general election. Oh, and the other thing, third thing, for the runoff election, the Republicans didn't want Saturday voting, weekend voting, the weekend after Thanksgiving. Why not? Douches. But yeah, Mike, me too. I don't think either one's a good, but to me, there is one clearly better candidate, but not a good candidate. I will say that, Mike. There is clearly one better candidate, but not a good candidate. And in doing, talking about politics on a podcast and stuff, you do get, I get it. You're not voting for the candidate. You're voting for the vote. You're voting for the Senate vote. You're voting for the guy who's going to vote most like you. The problem with that is if, as a country, we're in that situation, we're doomed. Because if you've got one side against the other, you're never going to get anything done. You're never going to have compromise. You're never going to have, here's the thing, Mike. You can't vote libertarian. You can write him in. I believe you can still, I don't know. Did my ballot allow me to write in? I don't think there were write-ins on the runoff. During the general election, you can write in or you can vote libertarian. But, the runoff, you only had 2 candidates. So I'm not a Rand Paul fan either. Some of his ideas are good, but you can't have a person that agrees with you 100%, but he's a little too crazy for me. Is it Rand? Isn't he the guy that got punched in the face from his neighbor? When your neighbor fucking hates you? I have neighbors on every side of the aisle. And I'm voted top neighbor in the neighborhood. I think I only have 26 houses in my neighborhood. And I cut everybody's lawn. If I see your lawn hasn't been cut, I just walk over with my lawnmower and do it. If I see your garbage can hasn't been pulled in, I pull that up. If anybody needs their cat checked in on or pet checked in on, I do that. It's called being neighborly. And we don't do enough of it. I wave to everybody while I'm washing my car. I don't know everybody, but I'll wave to you. Sometimes if I don't know you and you see me out there cutting your lawn, you'll wave to me too. I don't bring cakes or cookies when you move into the neighborhood or do anything of that sort, but yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to go because I do have an 11 o'clock appointment and I got to get in the shower. I got to get the dogs ready. Gots to get out. I think I have to leave at 10:30. Yeah, and Cooper, man. Cooper, I'm with you. I don't know how I've done it, Cooper. I will tell you. I will suggest, Cooper, I should say. I don't get that many spam texts. And I think it's because my my cell phone number I've on block a lot on a lot of places, and I have it as on a do not call list and stuff like that. But my other theory, Cooper, is that I have Visible service. And here's an ad for you. Go into my description. There's a link tree. And at the bottom of the link tree is a link to Visible. Port your phone number over. It's $30 a month. I don't get a lot of spam texts. I just don't. Mike, I wave to everybody. But yeah, Cooper, I don't get a lot of spam texts, and my guess is if you're on a major carrier, I think that's targeted by the companies. I hope you used my damn link, Cooper. I think you did. I think I got a text that somebody did. I don't know. I don't get that many. I try and get one a month. That way my phone bill's $5. And your first phone bill's like $5, I think, if you use my link too. And by the way, Cooper, I hope you'll agree. Visible, it's awesome. The price is amazing compared to what you get with the other carriers. The only thing is, if you're on a family plan, then Visible might not be the one for you, because some of the family plans on some of the other ones get to about the same dollar amount. Yeah, Mike, use the link. I'm telling you, man, try. It's so easy. People are afraid of porting their number and stuff. It's gotten so good. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm out. I got to hop in the shower because I haven't showered in a couple of days, because yesterday I was fixing the Philips Hue lights. Listen to my podcast. You'll hear me bitch about it. And then here's a challenge for all 14 of you watching, and anybody that watches this afterwards, is tell me in my podcast who I named Beaverface. And again, if you think me calling a girl Beaverface is cruel, understand what she did. Just understand what she did to millions of people who had their money with her. And she knew what she did. She knew exactly what she did. That's the problem I have. And SBF threw her under the bus yesterday. And I've nicknamed her Beaverface. So, okay. I'll be on tomorrow. And Jesse, just so everybody's aware, I record the podcast and then I hop on YouTube Live until I get my new MacBook Pro. And that hopefully is Friday, tomorrow. But it's probably tomorrow in the afternoon. So tomorrow's schedule is... it was the fairy, I think. I don't know who the fairy is, but Beaverface. I don't even know her name. I don't even want to justify her with the name. But listen to the podcast, Mike. It's on the podcast. You don't have to worry about it. It's not on YouTube. It's on the podcast. You didn't join too late. I think when you joined, I was still doing Twitter and the podcast. But go listen to the podcast. The podcast is 40 minutes long. It's a lot of me groveling and listen to it at 2 times speed. Then I sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. So it's good for you. Okay, I'm out. See you guys tomorrow.